Welcome to the Slice Podcast, where I give you a slice of my mind. I am your host, Christopher Martinez. This is going to be something new I want to try out, when I have some free time, I'm going to, drive into work or so. I want to talk about some things. So let's see how this goes. Now, the reason why this is called The Slice is because my Instagram name is Swistifer. It used to be Swiss Chris. So let me talk about that real quick. Back when I tried to think of a name for my first Instagram, back when I was in the 7th or 8th grade, one friend decided, why don't you name it Swiss Chris? The idea being, it sounds like a swish from a basketball. Take it, I wasn't really good at basketball, but still, you get the idea. So the name Swiss Chris was born, and I used it for a lot of things, and I still kind of do. And I think it's a fun little name, But I guess that explains the origins of the whole Swiss thing. I would use it as a legit name, but there's already a drummer named Swiss Chris for a band. I'm not sure what it is. But I guess Swistifer's cool enough. Funny enough, Swiss cheese isn't even my favorite cheese. I like cheddar more. Alright, so the goal of this podcast is for me to say some things that I have on my mind. And the first thing I wanted to do was talk about the movies that I've seen in 2019 so far. It is August 7th, 2019. It is about 4:55 in the morning. I'm driving to work right now. So I have about maybe 45 minutes to talk about some stuff. One of them being the movies that I've seen in 2019 so far. So first off, let's talk about Us, the first film that I saw. I will say this, Jordan Peele is a great director. He knows how to shoot his shots. He knows how to build tension. But I don't think he is the best storyteller yet. I didn't find Us particularly scary. I found it more shocking than anything. The film was shot well. The score was pretty good. Score is music composed for film. And I love to listen to film scores all the time. And I thought that a lot of the score really set the mood for a lot of scenes. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw Us. I don't remember what the box office number was, but it was an entertaining movie. I remember walking out of it at first. I thought I really liked it. I thought it was a really well-made movie. But I don't remember it having much of a theme. Now, I love when movies have themes, when they have something to say, when they have a lesson to give you. But I don't remember this movie having one. It's not a bad thing if it doesn't have one. It's just something I prefer to have. I don't remember Get Out having a theme either. That was just another entertaining film. Take it, I think I prefer Get Out over Us. Now, I've seen a couple of sketches of Key and Peele, and I think they're funny guys. They know how to make people laugh. But a problem I have with some scenes in either Get Out or Us is that there's a lot of scenes written to be funny. And I think it kind of takes away from the overall intent of trying to make a horror film or make some scenes scary, or kind of breaks away from the tone of trying to accomplish, being scary, or it kind of breaks away from certain characters thinking, hey, is this really scary, or are we just trying to make a joke to make the audience laugh right now? So yeah, I laughed a couple times in Us, has some funny things to say, but it wasn't just, sometimes I thought it didn't work. One last thing I want to touch on in Us is that there is, a twist. I'm pretty sure M. Night Shyamalan directed this movie now, because there's a twist that happens. And thinking back on it, there are a lot of things shown in the beginning of the movie that can kind of give it away at first. And at first, I didn't think the twist was going to happen. But when it did, it made sense to me because of the directing, because of some foreshadowing. But then, sometimes it didn't, because of the rules the movie sets up. So, I was conflicted in whether or not I should believe it or take it. All in all, I think Jordan Peele is a great director. I think he has a lot going for him. And he will make a movie that I will adore one day. I just know it. He has great stories to tell, but I think he struggles a little bit in telling them. So, I give movies letter grades. It gives me a lot of range into thinking, where does it land on this big scale? So I think I can give Us a B. The next film I saw in 2019 was Captain Marvel. And I can say this, I enjoyed Us more than Captain Marvel. Now, you could hear a lot of people say they hate Captain Marvel, or they love Captain Marvel, or they think it was a fine movie. I just think it's fine. Not fine as in, a fine aging wine. I think it's fine as in it's okay. It does its job as a movie, but I wanted more from it. I thought it could have been so much better. Now, I don't know who directed it. I don't remember. I think it was 2 people that did it. But it's just not that memorable of a movie. I remember the action scenes, but I can't remember specifics. Like how I remember specific action scenes from other movies. Like, I can probably visualize entire action scenes from Infinity War, or Endgame, or Iron Man. But I can't seem to remember action scenes like that in Captain Marvel. I don't hate it. I just think it's an okay movie. They set up a lot of things in there that are interesting. like Carol, she has this chip in her neck that suppresses her powers, so she can't use them to the extent. And that has a bigger play later on in the movie. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just, because I want to give, each of these movies, their own quick section. So, talking more about that, that's an interesting setup, because it could either be maybe once she fully realizes how much power she has, she can go a little overboard and maybe cause some damage that she didn't mean to. But no, she just happens to be very super powerful and knows how to use all of her powers to the fullest extent when she fully realizes that she can use them. Now, I hear a lot of people say that she doesn't have any flaws. She doesn't have any physical flaws. She seems to be able to defeat all of her enemies with little to no ease. But there's a flaw that she has, and it's in the way she thinks. And there's a twist in the movie. I think M. Night Shyamalan directed this as well. And I can say that I like the twist. It really changed the entire movie, though. That's something I liked about it. It changed the entire plot. It changed the pacing. It changed it to be a better movie, to do better things, because it focuses on more things than Captain Marvel herself, which I found to be kind of boring. I didn't think the directors were able to get the best out of Brie Larson. I haven't seen a lot of her movies, but I've heard she is a fantastic actress. And based on that, I think if she was given better directors, or if the directors had a better script maybe, then they can be able to make a movie that is considerably better. But Captain Marvel was a disappointment. I actually thought it was going to be good. I didn't care about it at first because there was the whole thing with Captain Marvel is going to be the strongest character that were introduced in the MCU so far. Something great. She's going to kill Thanos when she doesn't deserve to. And I'm thinking, but before I watched it, I thought, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to be a great movie. And I walked out kind of underwhelmed. So in the end, I'm going to give Captain Marvel a C. Oh, and one other thing. The end credit scene for Captain Marvel kind of blows. It's supposed to be after Endgame, and you see all the characters on Earth that survived the snap from Infinity War, looking at the little pager that Nick Fury has, that Captain Marvel gave her, that Captain Marvel gave him. And then out of nowhere you see Carol, like, where's Fury? But then, in Endgame, when she's there, actually in Endgame when she's on Earth, it seems that she just figured out about the whole thing, which takes place a long time after that post-credit scene in Captain Marvel. So what is it? To me, it seems that that scene isn't real. Because the way she acts in Endgame, or that specific scene in Endgame, makes it seem that she didn't know who Thanos was. because it makes sense to her character. She finds out and then she walks off like, I'm gonna go kill Thanos. Like you. By yourself. Okay. Whatever. We still don't know what your freaking powers are. You can shoot lasers and you can fly and you know how to use them. Like, you know how to use them to their full extent with little to no ease. Okay. Go kill Thanos then. Whatever. Oh yeah. And they showed Nick Fury lost his eye. I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world. You know, you have a lot of... You can have something really interesting with that. Now, I don't read the comics, so I don't know how he really lost his eye. But the way they showed it in Captain Marvel was possibly the dumbest thing ever. And people actually thought it was going to happen before the movie even started. And I legit flipped the screen off. I was so just disappointed. But that's Marvel for you. They'll give you a cool, funny scene to laugh at, right? Totally taking away from tension sometimes. Whatever. Alright, the next film I saw was Avengers Endgame. It was not my most anticipated film of the year, but one of them. That's because I thought Infinity War would have been perfect to have as an ending for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It would have been more perfect if it was 3 hours long, like Endgame, and if Ant-Man and Hawkeye were there. And no Captain Marvel, because I don't like her. Maybe they can make it better in other movies, though. But based on her solo film, I don't like her. Because she's boring. Anyways. Avengers Endgame. I really dug it. Really enjoyed it. It was possibly the coolest experience I had in a movie theater in my entire life. It was just something magical to experience. All these movies leading up to this big, epic finale. But it does have its issues. It's very slow. I wouldn't say that is an issue, though, because it needs to be slow. It has to build up towards this big, epic ending, right? But I felt that there were a lot of scenes that could have been cut out or shortened. Like the Hulk diner scene. That could have been shortened a lot. Like, a lot. Take it was funny because it's always funny to see freaking Scott Lang as Ant-Man. You know, just doing his thing, laughing, like, making jokes, being dumb. You know, that's funny, but I think the Hulk scene in the diner lasted a little too long. Now, a lot of people had a problem with... Yeah, I'm gonna talk spoilers now about Avengers Endgame. Yeah, a lot of people had a problem with Fat Thor. I didn't. I found it very freaking hysterical. I thought, I was like, no way. No way they just did this. I thought it was funny. And, you know, whether or not you see it as funny or you can see it as serious, it really does show the downward spiral he took after Infinity War. And after what happened in the first 20 minutes in Endgame. You know, he failed. And he took what he could. He took what he could do. He chopped Thanos' head off in the beginning of Endgame when they found him on the little farm. There's no way to reverse everything because Thanos said he destroyed the stones. And that's it. And I felt that in some scenes with him, though, he was just kind of played off as a joke. Now, I know the Russo brothers, the guys that directed this, took it serious in some scenes. Like when he saw his mom on Asgard, when they had to do the time traveling thing. Now, that was something, very emotional. And she said the future hasn't been kind to you because lost his eye, lost his brother, lost his dad, lost his mom. She doesn't know that yet. And now he's depressed. And so when he realizes that he has to change, he has to make the future better for himself and everyone else. And when he finds that he's still worthy because he takes Mjolnir from the past, it's cool. It's really cool. He smiles. It's the first time he's like happy in the movie. It's something special. But just the arcs that everyone goes on in this movie, it's really cool. Nebula turns into a true hero by saving the past Gamora and Clint from past Nebula. The whole Clint and Natasha thing when she has to go, when the two have to go get the Soul Stone, and then they have to come to terms with who's actually going to sacrifice themselves for the Soul Stone. And when that whole thing was going down, I'm thinking, no, Black Widow's gonna die. Because Clint has a family, and he has to see them. And Natasha doesn't have a biological family that I can think of. Like, her only family was the Avengers. But I felt that the scene felt kind of dragged on because the two kept going back and forth with, nope, I'm gonna die, nope, I'm gonna die. But it also felt really shortened because they used the same score from Infinity War when Thanos throws Gamora off the cliff, right? But they also shortened the music. So in my head, I was humming that specific piece of music. I think it's called Even For You. Check it out on the Infinity War score. But then at some point, they just cut it down. I'm thinking, whoa. That's not what happens in the score. That's what happens in this piece of music. And I was like, oh, that seemed rather quick. And we've seen this before. It's almost like a shot-for-shot remake of Thanos doing it to Gamora. Yeah, it was sad, but in the end, I really didn't feel as emotional for that as it did for a lot of other things in the MCU because I was never truly invested in Natasha as a character, really. She works as a side character, and I'm not really excited for her solo movie because, one, she's dead, so I don't know what more I can get out of it. And two, I didn't really find her all that interesting near the end. She was interesting in, the beginning, Iron Man 2, Avengers, and The Winter Soldier. She had great scenes in those movies. Because she had that factor of, do you trust me or not? It's great for a character like her. But in Endgame, I didn't really like it all that much. Because I didn't see the specific arc that she had that wasn't, I'm going to sacrifice myself to save everybody. And you have to go to your family. Alright, enough on that. Let's talk about something else in Endgame, because I have the most to say about Endgame than any other movie I've seen this year. And I've only seen 5 of them. You'll see which 2 are next. So, the final battle in Endgame is something magical. Something I haven't experienced in a movie. Alright, I'm still talking about spoilers here. So, if you haven't seen spoilers, either go away or move to the next subject. So, the entire premise of the movie is we're going to travel back in time through the quantum realm, get the stones from different points of time, bring them back. But don't change anything because that's going to branch off and make another timeline. Because the rules they set up are we can't change things in the past and it'll affect our timeline. It can only affect new timelines that are being made from the changes in the past. So that's why they can't kill baby Thanos. Maybe it'll change something in the new timeline they'll make from that, but it won't change their own timeline. So they have to get the time, they have to go back in time, get the stones, bring them back to the present, which is now 2023, because this movie takes place 5 years after Infinity War. Then they have to do the snap and then take all the stones back because they're changing the timelines, but not if they bring them back, which raises some questions on its own. Because the Mind Stone, it's Loki's scepter. They have to put it back, but maybe the events will have to take the events that take place after the Avengers, leading up to Age of Ultron, when the Mind Stone was actually revealed to be Loki's scepter. Maybe those things will take place differently. And the Soul Stone. Oh no, the Tesseract. The Tesseract is a cube. No one knew it was a stone until Thanos destroyed it. No one in the world knew it was a stone until Thanos destroyed it in Infinity War, right? And how are they going to bring it back as a cube? Because when they bring it back, they're going to be like, this isn't a cube. What the frick happened, Jerry? You destroyed the Tesseract cube thingy. Now it's this weird rock. Throw it away. We don't want it. And the Soul Stone. I think this is the biggest one people have a problem with, myself included, because in order to get the Soul Stone, you gotta throw someone you love off of a cliff. I wonder if you can throw objects off of the cliff, not just people you love. Like, if you really love the toaster oven, can you throw that off of the cliff and get the Soul Stone? Or does it have to be an actual living person? So anyways, though, at the end of the movie, I'm just going to skip to the end of the movie real quick. At the end of the movie, Steve Rogers has to take all the stones back, which, how is he going to do it all himself? Like, why not have any of the other Avengers do it? It was tricky enough to get them, but it'll be more tricky to put them all back, especially in the states that you have them in. So that means Steve has to go back in time, somehow find his way to freaking Morag, where they got not Morag, somehow get to Vormir to get the freaking Mind Stone, but he has to give it back to the Red Skull. People make memes about this all the time, and I think it's funny, but, it's a serious question, like, what happens? Because, the stone. You don't get it as a stone. Does the next person just walk up and get the stone? Like, how do you return it? That's the thing. So that means Thanos doesn't have to kill Gamora to get the Soul Stone, because the Soul Stone's already gotten. I guess. I don't know. Alright, back to the final battle though. Okay, so yeah, they bring all the stones to the present, and then Hulk does the snap, and then causes a lot of damage to his arm. That's a lot of damage. That's a meme or something, sorry. Anyways, does the snap, his right arm's nearly just busted like Thanos' arm was, and then everyone gets brought back. Which is another problem, because what if people already moved on? Because, you see that no one's the same after half of the people just died. It's hard for people to move on, because someone they loved, someone they knew was there, and the next moment, they were gone. But what about the people that were able to move on? Like, oh, sorry, new wife, I have to go back to my old wife now because she's back because the Avengers did this. Sorry, honey. But that's just another small thing to gripe about. So anyways, everyone gets brought back. And then Thanos' ship gets brought back because the past Gamora disguises herself as the present Gamora. And when they all get back, she teleports Thanos' ship and his army and everything to the present. But then again, he also brings an army from the present as well. So did they not die during the snap? Alright, so anyways. And then one of the coolest fight scenes happened. Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor fighting Thanos. It was stressful because you didn't know what was going to happen. Who was going to die? Who was about to die? And then the coolest thing happened. Cap finally lifted Mjolnir after barely nudging it in an Age of Ultron. So he was finally able to lift it, and he freaking whooped Thanos. But then Thanos, destroyed his shield, nearly killed him, and he has this big gash on his arm. Alright, let me say something here. So this movie was nominated for like an award for the MTV Movie Awards, like coolest fight scene or whatever. But then the fight scene from Captain Marvel went over it. And it was a fight scene titled against one of the Kree warriors or whatever, right? Any fight scene with Captain Marvel isn't memorable at all, let alone that small fight scene. So I think it's kind of BS that movie won over this, but it doesn't matter because it's the MTV Movie Awards. Who cares? Well, based on the tone of my voice, I kind of do, because give the movies credit that they deserve. And I don't think that movie deserved it. So anyways, out of nowhere, you just hear on your left, and then a bunch of portals start opening up because Doctor Strange and all the magicians and all the sorcerers and stuff, they're like, we're here and we're back and we're gonna bring everyone who was ever anybody in the MCU is here, except Loki and Vision and Quicksilver and Yondu. But anyways, yeah, we're all back now. In that moment, it's possibly the single most coolest moment I've ever seen in any movie ever. Because, the universe is at stake now. Thanos went from wanting to kill half of the population to, I'm going to destroy everything and rebuild this universe so that no one will ever know anything about the past. And everything's going to be in my vision. Now that's freaking cool. And so the stakes are definitely higher now. So, it makes sense for everyone to be there for the big finale. Now let me tell you something. When I saw this, when I saw the portals opening up, when I saw everyone coming back and being shown in this cinematic way, my entire body went numb. I couldn't feel anything. I was so excited. I was so happy. I was like, this is not happening. This is not happening. It was the coolest thing ever. I was so happy. Like, no way this was happening. But it was, and I was so filled with joy. Like, I was thinking, no other movie could do this. No other movie can make me feel like this. And then the big epic showdown happened where everyone was fighting Thanos' army with Alan Silvestri's score playing, and it was the coolest thing ever. But then you remember, oh wait, there's only one way we win because of what Doctor Strange said. Because there's 1 in 14,605,605 possibilities in which they won. So you see Tony talk to Doctor Strange like, you said 1 in 14 million possibilities. Is this one of them? He says, if I tell you what happens, it won't happen. So then Tony then realizes what he has to do. When Thanos finally gets the gauntlet, the Stark gauntlet, Tony goes to him, puts his hands on the gauntlet. They struggle for a little bit. Then Thanos smacks him. Then he fits the glove on one more time. Then he says, I am inevitable. And he snaps his fingers, but you only hear the metal. You don't hear the big loud bang heard the previous times the snap was done. He looks, the stones are gone. He's scared, he's frightened. Then he looks over to Tony. And then the stones are fixing themselves onto his armor around his hand. And then all the electricity or whatever coming from the stones is, destroying his armor. Then you can see it fusing in his skin. Then he goes, he says, and I am Iron Man. Then he snaps his finger. And then he snaps his fingers. And then he dusts away Thanos' army. And ultimately Thanos himself. God, even explaining it, it's just awesome. Like, that was something special to see in the theaters. And then Tony's beaten, too much radiation from the stones. And he sits down and people go to say their goodbyes to him. Peter Parker, Pepper Potts. Rhodey doesn't say anything. I don't think he says anything. Because it's kind of hard to say that to your best friend. And then he dies. His arc reactor goes out. Which I think is kind of dumb because... when you think about it, it's kind of dumb because it's not connected to his heart anymore. The suit's still on, right? Because, his AI is still in there. But that's another thing. But just seeing that for the striking moment of, yeah, he's dead, really hits home. Really sucks. And at this point, I was crying. Really freaking hard. Then he has his funeral. He has his hologram voice message. And then they put the very first arc reactor he had, like the present Pepper gave him, that said, prove that Tony Stark has a heart. They put it on the river. And then I just lost it. I couldn't take it anymore. It was too much. truly emotional. I haven't cried that hard in a movie since A Star Is Born. And I haven't cried that hard in a movie before that since Infinity War. And I haven't cried that hard in a movie before that since Logan. But this takes the cake. This was just... It was that. I can't explain it more than that. It was just something truly different. Something special. You know, this was the ending to this big epic. I don't think any movies from now on can do what these movies have done for people. But it doesn't end there. Because I said before, you know, Steve has to take the stones back. But a lot of other things happen. The Guardians are back, but there's no Gamora. So I'm assuming Guardians 3 is going to be like a way to try to get Gamora back because, you know, Star-Lord's trying to he's trying to see where's Gamora. There's going to be another Thor movie. There was another Spider-Man movie. I'll talk about that next. And Steve takes the stones and they're expecting him to come back. But when they're counting down, expecting him to come back, I'm thinking, something's not right here. Then he doesn't come back through the quantum teleporter thing. But then they end up seeing him on a bench. Old. He decided to stay with Peggy Carter from the past and live out the life that he always wanted. Then he gives his shield to Sam to be the new Captain America. And then the movie ends with not a flashback. I guess you could say it's a flashback. A scene from the past in which Steve finally gets to dance with Peggy. Ugh, it just hurts. But it's something only this could have pulled off. I have my gripes with it, but Avengers Endgame was and will always be something truly magical in any movie. This was something special for me. Because I want to, you know, as you guys know, I want to be a director. I want to be a writer. So, it was kind of important to see how this would all end. And in the end, I was very satisfied. Alright, I just got to work, but I think I still have a little more time to talk. Alright. Although I do have my gripes with Endgame, I still loved it, but I thought Infinity War was a better made movie. I can be proud in saying Infinity War can get an A or an A+. I did give it an A+, actually. But I think Endgame can get an A-. Because it does have its problems. Infinity War was just the better made movie, though. It's not saying anything wrong with Endgame, but that's just my thoughts. Alright, next to talk about the next movie I saw, Midsommar, directed by Ari Aster. And oh boy, this was a movie. Where do I begin? It's a movie about, well, partially about relationship struggles, but it's a movie about moving on. And it emphasizes that a lot. Because something happens to the main character in the first 20 minutes of the movie. Well, let me just say, the first 20 minutes of Midsommar are fantastic. But let me just say the plot real quick. The plot of this film is Christian and Danny are, there are people in a relationship, but it's not going very well. But they don't show it to be as toxic as the film portrays it as. It's just Danny talking to Christian on the phone, and then his friend's like, dude, you wanted to get out of this stupid relationship for the past year. And then the music's playing, and it's supposed to be like, oh, this is a bad relationship. And then something happens to her parents and her sister, and then she just breaks down. And Christian, late, like 6 months later, I'm assuming, decides to leave to a midsummer festival with his friends. And Danny comes along too. And then they experience a lot of creepy cult stuff. Let me just say, I found this movie very fascinating. If I was looking at this movie as on a technical sense, on a filmmaking sense, then this movie will get an A+. But the story drags it down. The movie is well shot, the score is beautiful to listen to, the acting, especially by the main actress, is amazing. The set design, which is, all outside, but even then, everything they had to build for this, it's awesome. The film is truly immersive. Makes you feel as if you're there. Makes you feel as if you're in the setting with the characters. But it's kind of hard to get through because it takes a while for the plot to get rolling. This is like a 2 hour and 20 minute movie, I think. And it really feels longer than that. It felt as long as Endgame was, and Endgame was 3 hours. But this film is really shocking. And it has a lot of creepy imagery. If you're very disturbed by that, then don't watch this because there's a lot of that stuff in here. I'm not gonna spoil this movie because I'm pretty sure people want to watch it, and I'm pretty sure they haven't seen it yet. But oh my god! But it's not as creepy as Hereditary. I found Hereditary much more disturbing because of what was shown and how they showed it. It's not saying there's a problem with the way it was shown in this movie, but I found it more effective in Hereditary. But the end of the film, which is the most shocking part of the movie, like the last 10 minutes, I'd say, my jaw dropped and I couldn't believe what I was actually watching in this film. This is a film made by a guy who has a vision and who was able to truly speak it out, who was able to say, I want this, and the people said, done, you can do this. It was amazing. And apparently, he has a 3 hour version of this movie, which I don't know if I want to sit through because it's not hard to get through. It's just, I'd say, I don't see myself wanting to sit through the 3 hour version. I think I'm good with the 2 hour and 20 minute version. there are some things that happen at the end of the movie that I don't believe should have been done by certain characters. But for the sake of the movie, it's nice. Ari Aster is a great director, and with his only two films, that being Hereditary and Midsommar, I think he has so much more potential to be even a better filmmaker than he is now. He has great stories to tell, but I felt that the story in here, specific aspects weren't touched on as much as they should have been. But all in all, I thought this was a great movie, and I'll give it a B plus. No, I'll give it a B minus. Sorry, a B minus, because yeah, I do have a lot of gripes with it in the storytelling aspect of this. Why did I say B plus? B minus. I'll give this a B minus. All right, the next movie I saw, Spider-Man: Far From Home. Now, the entire time that they were talking about this movie, I was thinking, takes place before Infinity War. Can't bring him back. Please don't bring him back. Because I don't think there's a way they can do it and have it, not diminish the meaning and values of Infinity War. But they found a way to do it, and it was awesome. I'm not gonna spoil Far From Home though, because I don't have much to say about it. Besides, I really like it. I think it's a good Spider-Man movie. I thought John Watts, the director of it, did a better job directing the action scenes. That they were better directed than Homecoming, and I thought the movie had more stakes than Homecoming, because in Homecoming, Peter wanted to be more. He wanted to be an Avenger, and he had to show himself every day. And in the end, he realized, I have to be this friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I have to be the small guy. I have to look out for the little people. And that's great. But in here, he wants to be the small guy. He wants to not have to worry about being Spider-Man, though, because he wants to go out with MJ. But the world wants him to be better. The world wants him to be bigger than who he actually is. I thought it was a nice change, and I really dug it. I like what they do with Tom Holland Spider-Man here. A lot of people don't like him, and they'll complain about him all day, but I adore him. He does a great job as Spider-Man. Does a great job as Peter Parker, especially for this day and age. And I find it funny that he still gets bullied because he goes to this super smart school, but he still gets bullied. But it makes sense because he's not quote unquote cool like other smart kids are, but he's like the smartest one there. Just need to drink some water. Just need to drink some water real quick. A couple more things to touch on this. I thought the score was cool. Michael Giacchino came back from Homecoming to do it. Touches on the original theme on Homecoming, but, adds some new cool things to it. The special effects, the visual effects, I thought were kind of lame, actually. Like, everything with Spider-Man's cool, but everything else just looks so cheap and noticeable. I'm not saying when CGI is noticeable it's bad, but oh my god, this was kind of bad. But it felt to get better along near the end of the movie. And Mysterio, he's a villain. Everyone knows he's a villain. What they did with him was really cool and really unexpected. But all in all, I had a blast with Homecoming. I had so much fun watching it. I'm Far From Home. I got I'm an idiot. Had a blast with it. I can't wait to watch it again. I'll wait for it to come out on like a Blu-ray or something though. And I will give Spider-Man Far From Home a B. How could you give Hereditary, a much better made film, a B minus, but Spider-Man Far From Home a B? Because I found it more enjoyable. And I'm a sucker for superhero movies. But I can say some of them suck. Like Justice League. That sucks. I remember I used to like it at first. And then I realized, oh wait, no, this movie actually kind of sucks. But anyways, I think that just about does it for this episode. The first episode of the Slice podcast. Give you a slice of my mind. We've been going on for, I don't know, about 55 minutes? 56 minutes, wow. Okay. I'm at work now. I want to do this about maybe every other day, maybe once a week. Might be a good way to forget things off my mind. A better way to get it out than sit down and record a video of me talking about things and then having to edit it out all later. This, I can just splurge out everything I have in my mind. Alright, well, I hope this will be a recurring thing, and I will see you guys next time. Comment below what you thought about this. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.